Mrs. say hi. Say hi to my viewers. Well, mainly me, but say hi. Say hi, Mrs. She says hi. Yeah? Yeah? You'll be in one of my next videos. I promise. It'll be a good video. Yeah? Aww. Today's video, I decided to do something a little more different. Let's get started. The Flying Dutchman, traditional. 'Twas on a dark and cheerless night, to the south'ard of a cape, and from a strong nor'wester, we had just made our escape. Like an infant in its cradle, all hands were fast asleep, and peacefully we sailed along the bosom of the deep. Peacefully we sailed along the bosom of the deep. At length our helmsman gave a cry of terror and fear, as if he just gazed upon some sudden danger near. The seas around were clad in foam, and just upon our lee we saw the Flying Dutchman come bounding o'er the sea. We saw the Flying Dutchman come bounding o'er the sea. Take our lofty canvas, lad, our watchful master cried. For me and my ship's company some sudden danger bids. For every seaman who rounds the cape, although he knows no fear, yet knows that there is danger when Vanderneck's near. He knows that there is danger when Vanderneck's near. Here comes the Flying Dutchman, like an eagle o'er the sea. Pursued along by tempest desire, he makes for Table Bay. Pursued along by tempest desire, the lightning's wave occurred. And ere he can cast ashore, the bay, alas, is past. And ere he can cast ashore, the bay, alas, is past. Let's pity poor Vanderneck, for fearful is his doom. The seas around this stormy cape must be his living tomb. He's doomed to sail the ocean forever and a day, as he tries in vain his oath to keep by entering Table Bay. He tries in vain his oath to keep by entering Table Bay. As we watch that spectral vessel disappear from sight, our master glanced to standward, and he gave a cry of fright. A mighty ring of coral loomed beneath the dashing wave, and many shipmates went that night unto a salt sea grave. And many shipmates went that night unto a salt sea grave. For this video, I have picked from my favorite book that I've had for a while. It's Ghost and Treasury and Chilling Tales Old and New. From I don't know how old this book is. Kind of had it for a while, and I thought since it's Spooktober that it would be nice to give it a go. I have chosen 3 short stories from in here, and I will be reading them all to you. I didn't really know what to make, so I thought this would be a little more interesting. I have 2 more short stories. You already heard my first one. I hope you enjoyed me trying to read. I don't really read much out loud, but please don't laugh at the way I pronounce things, because I pronounce things a little more differently than most people. That one was the shortest one I have. And I picked these at random. I looked at them, saw which one was short, and I noted them. I have 2 more, and I'm not going to read them right now because it is nighttime, and it's already like 11:33 at night, or 11:34, so yeah. I'll continue reading in a moment. It's just right now I'm not. This is like 2 days from Sunday that I'm, pre-recording. I have no light in my room. Literally, the thing broke. Long story. So I only have the light or flashlight on my phone, and my room already has spooky vibes. So and reading my first story. So yeah, you'll hear me continue in a few moments. My next one, the dead woman's photograph. It is another anonymous writer, and I hope you guys enjoy. P.S. Stay until the end. I have a little surprise at the end of my video. The dead woman's photograph. Anonymous. Virgil Hoyt is a photographer's assistant up at St. Paul, and a man of a good deal of taste. He has been in search of a picturist all over the West, and hundreds of miles to the north in Canada, and can speak 3 or 4 Indian delicates, and put a canoe through the rapids. That is to say, he is a man of an adventurous sort and no dreamer. He can fight well and shoot well and swim well enough to put up a winning race with an Indian boy, and he can sit all day in the saddle and not dream about it at night. Wherever he goes, he uses his camera. The world. Hoyt is in the habit of saying to those who sit with him when he smokes his pipe, was created in 6 days to be photographed. Man, and especially woman, was made for the same purpose. Clouds are not made to give moisture, nor trees to cast shade. They were created for photographers. In short, Virgil Hoyt's view of the world is whimsical, and he doesn't like to be bothered with anything disagreeable. That is the reason that he loathes the test going to a house of mourning to photograph a corpse. The horribly bad taste of it offends him partly, and partly he is annoyed and having a shoulder. Even for a few moments, a part of someone's burden of sorrow. He doesn't like sorrow, and would willingly cannon 500 miles up the cold Canadian river to get rid of it. Nevertheless, an assistant photographer, it is often his duty to do this very kind of thing. Not long ago, he was sent by a rich Jewish family at St. Paul to photograph the mother, who had just died. He was very much put out, but he went. He was taken to the front parlor where the dead woman lay in her coffin. It was evident that there was some excitement in the household and that the discussion was going on. But Hoyt wasn't concerned, and so he paid no attention to the matter. The daughter wanted the coffin turned on the end in order that the corpse might face the camera properly. But Hoyt said he could overcome the recumbent attitude and make it appear that the face was taken in the position it would naturally hold in life. And so they went out and left him alone with the dead. The face was a strong and positive one, such as may often be seen amongst Jewish matrons. Hoyt regarded it on with some admiration, thinking to himself she was a woman who had been used to having her own way. There was a strand of hair out of place, and he pushed it back from her brow. A bud lifted its head too high from among the roses on her breast and spoiled the contour of the chin. So he broke it off and remembered these things very later, distantly, and that his hand touched her bare face 2 or 3 times. He took the photographs and left the house. He was very busy at the time, and several days elapsed before he was able to develop the palettes. He took them from the bath in which they had lain with a number of others, and went to work upon them. There were 3 palettes, have taken that number merely as a precaution against any accidents. They came up well, but as they developed, he became aware of the existence of something in the photograph which had not been appeared to his eye. Mysterious always comes under the head of disagreeable with him, and he was therefore to be banished. So he made only a few prints and put the things away out of sight. He hoped that something would intervene to save him from attempting an explanation. But this is part of the general perplexity of the life, that things do not intervene as they ought and when they ought. So one day his employer asked him what had become of those photographs. He tried to evade him, but it was futile, and he got out the finished photographs and showed them to him. The older man sat staring at them a long time. "Hoyt," he said at length, "you're a young man, and I suppose you have never seen anything like this before. But I have. Not exactly the same thing, but similar phenomena have come my way a number of times since I went into this business. And I want to tell you there were things in heaven and earth not dreamt of." "Oh, I know. All the Tommy rot," cried Hoyt angrily. "But when anything happens, I want to know the reason why, and how it is done." "All right," said his employer. "Then you might explain why and how the sun rises." But he humored the young man significantly to examine with him and bath in which the plates were submerged and the plates themselves. All was as it should be, but the mystery was there and cannot be done away with. Hoyt hoped against hope that the friends of the dead woman would somehow forget about the photographs, but of course the wish was unreasonable. And one day the daughter appeared and asked to see the photographs of her mother. "Well, to tell the truth," stammered Hoyt, "those didn't come out as well as we could wish." "But let me see them," persisted the lady. "I'd like to look at them anyway." "Well now," said Hoyt, trying to be soothing, as he believed it was always best to be with women to tell the truth. He was an agoromorous, okay, where women were concerned. "I think it would be better if you didn't see them. There is a reason why." He assembled on like this. Stupid man that he was, and of course the Jew said she would see those pictures without any further delay. The Jews? The Jews? So poor Hoyt bought them out and placed them in her hand, and then ran for the water pitcher, and had to be at the bother of bathing her forehead to keep her from fading. For what the lady saw was this: over face, the flowers and the head of the coffin fell a thick veil, the edges of which touched the floor. In some places it covered the features so well that not a hint of them was visible. "There was nothing over mother's face," cried out the lady. "Not a thing," assured Hoyt. "I know because I had occasion to touch her face just before I took the photo. I put some of her hair back from her brow." "What does it mean then?" asked the lady. "You know better than I. There is no explanation in science. Perhaps there is in psychology." "Well," said the lady, stammering a little and coloring, "mother was a good woman, but she always wanted her own way, and she always had it too." "Yes?" "And she never would have pictures taken. She didn't admire herself. She said no one should ever see a picture of hers." "So?" said Hoyt meditatively. "Well, she kept her word, hasn't she?" The two stood looking at the photos for a time. Then Hoyt pointed to the open blaze in the grate. "Throw them in," he commanded. "Don't let your father see them. Don't keep them yourself. They wouldn't be good things to keep." "That's true enough," said the lady, slowly. And she threw them in the fire. Then Virgo Hoyt brought out the plates and broke them before her eyes. And that was the end of it, except that Hoyt sometimes tells the story to those who sit beside him when his pipe is lighted. If you didn't know what was scary about that story is that there was nothing in the woman's face, and when the pictures were formed, there was like a veil or like something covering the woman's face, and so yeah, that was the shocker that came out in the photo. I'm gonna cut this off now. It's way over than the time I really wanted it to. So I guess I'm sticking with just 2 stories, and I don't know, maybe we'll see if I do the 3rd one, maybe not. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and as promised, here is my little surprise.